Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decade Andy, and we're here this week. And Mikey has returned to us once again, dripped in his best, finest gabs or drabs. How's it going, Mikey? Are you decked
so many
out?
babies to get this.
Oh my God! Well, you know, sometimes you gotta look your best, no matter the cost.
Yeah, babies. No one likes babies.
Oh my God, is that true?
I mean, do you?
I mean, I don't, but...
And you must be representative of the majority of the world.
You say I'm wrong, though, all the time about things, so...
I know, but like the majority's usually wrong, but...
Are you saying this time I'm in the right?
I'm just saying you're in the majority.
Ooh, I'll take that. Like me being in the right for a change, that's okay.
And
Wow.
everything's coming up, Andy. Woo!
Yeah, it's about time. Goddamn. How's it going, Mikey? How are you doing this week?
I'm good.
Nice, excellent. Mikey, we're here to talk about Transformers. Unfortunately, and not surprisingly, not as much this week as there was previously. But
a lot of blinking news, I'd call it.
What do you mean by blinking news?
I'm looking at it, and my reaction is just consistently,
Oh, okay.
I'm just sort of blinking at it.
All right. Well, we are going to start off with Prime One Studios, the Statue Kings themselves. I'll talk about the thing that they cancelled first. I put these in the wrong order, technically. But yes, the Studio Series Premium Masterline Transformers, War for Cybertron, Optimus Prime, and Megatron statues have been cancelled.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a little message here that they pooped out into the world, which says, "To our beloved fans and collectors, we regret to inform you of the cancellation of projects Premium Masterline Transformers War for Cybertron Optimus Prime, which is the PMTF05, and the Masterline Transformers War for Cybertron Megatron, which is the PMF06. Unfortunately, due to the continually increasing costs of production combined with the insufficient amount of demand and interest, we have made the difficult decision to cease production and development on these statues. And I don't blame them, because these are obviously based on the War for Cybertron series, the hot writing, well-written Transformer series that was on Netflix, which everybody loved. Right, Mikey? Right, Mikey? Mikey loves them. You can tell by the silence in the air.
They're certainly something.
Yeah. I mean, I think for what they are and what they're based on, they look nice. You know,
yes,
they both
Prime
have
One
interesting
Studios.
bases.
They do an excellent work. Like, you sculpt and everything else in Prime One Studios is second to none. Like, they've just announced a line for Jurassic World Dominion. I think they've only revealed Blue, Beta, and the Giganotosaurus so far. And they're not color or anything, but the sculpt is insane.
Do you know how much they are? Have they not announced the price on them?
Oh, God, I think the Giga's gonna be 1,000. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
I mean, that's not, to me, that's not a surprise. I wondered if it was going to be similar pricing to what the movie Transformer statues were, which were, I can't remember how many years ago we talked about them, but they were around 1,000 as well, which for the amount that, I mean, that they're done, it makes sense.
Maybe Blue will be cheaper because they've got 1/10 scale Jurassic World Charlie figure, which was the Green Raptor, and she's 100.
Okay.
But
there
really
were different scales, weren't there? There was the
yeah.
really big ones, which were the crazy expensive ones, and then there was a smaller, lamer, cheap boy version, a poor man's version.
Yeah.
It seems like these statues would have had some lights, because the Prime standing on top of a shockwave on top of the planet thing that's got laser blasts coming through. His little gun would have lighted up, lit up. And Megatron's fusion cannon also had a light in it. So, these aren't coming out. I wonder how much of it is due to mainly the demand and interest, because I don't think anyone was a massive fan of those scenes.
Yeah, these were weird to market, in my opinion. In part because no one really cared, because these were the character models were based off the CAD models.
Yes.
So you know, they looked like they were gonna look. And then you got was it 3-0 or 3A? One of the two of them. Who did the posable DX figures. And they were, I think they sold fairly well, but like no one was like, oh my god, because they just looked like the toys with like better posability and a better paint job. And now you have these guys who are the toys with a good paint job but no posability, which means they have to appeal to the statue market, and the statue market is probably not particularly drawn to these two versions of the character because I would suspect the statue market is just full of people who didn't engage with it.
I mean, that would make sense.
You know, just so I don't think I'm particularly shocked that this didn't go all the way through. You know,
I could see that.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a shame for people who actually wanted them, but it's not that much or that many, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But they did show something else, Prime 1 Studios related. They showed us this week the Transmetal 2 Megatron figure that they've got coming out. It's not a fancy key name for it, like PTBWT2M-1 or anything like that. But it is Transmetal 2 Megatron, the Dragon form. Lots of images, promo shots of it. I think it's pretty fancy looking. It's a nice take on Megatron because it's not a direct copy. It's more of it's much more mechanical. They've made it less organic-y and tried to just go full like techno Transformers movie-ish Megatron.
Yeah,
Base has a Transmetal 2 Tarantulas melting below him as well. And it looks like the dragon head has some lights in its mouth as well. Mikey, do you have a better feeling about this? Because I think this is a lot more visually interesting.
Yeah, no, I really like it. I think it's an interesting piece. I hope, like, I really wish there was less Photoshoppy nonsense going on with these shots so I could get a clear view of the fucking thing. Like, hey, I don't think there's actual lava coming with this.
What? What do you mean?
And I want to know is, like, do the flames around tarantulas actually light up? Because they're lit up in the shot where you see tarantulas up close, but also that the whole thing is photoshopped to bomb.
Oh my god.
But I actually think the design is really solid. I think having tarantulas in there is a lovely take.
Yes, I would agree.
I definitely like the light feature. Usually these have like a swap out part or two, so that would be nice. But I don't think they'll be cancelling this. I think this will sell perfectly fine. It will probably sell on pre-orders, but a lot of Prime 1 Studio stuff sells on pre-orders, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, they'll probably be fine, like you say.
Yeah, because I know they're doing Primal and Megatron in their base forms, and I think they're doing, you know, we haven't heard anything about them being cancelled.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Yeah, I can't think of anything that happens like that. So, yeah, I think it's good. Expect this to be expensive. I could see this one being 1,000, unless it's small, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
If it's small, all right, fair enough. If not, okay, fair enough, you know? Mikey, do you want to take us on to some Masterpiece news?
Masterpiece, it's been a weird week.
It has.
So, we had a new Masterpiece movie figure announced, and it says so much about this line that I forgot it was a thing. So, they have announced a Masterpiece movie, Blackout. Blackout is, of course, a helicopter from the first film, got reused as Grindor, and is probably one of the most popular designs from the first film, I think.
From the first film, yeah, I think that's fair, yeah.
So Blackout is, and it's a blaster. Blackout is going to come with standard transformation. He's going to come with some decent looking articulation. He's got a flip out rotoblade for his hands, and effect parts for guns on his arms, and the big cannon thing he used in that one shot from where he's being scanned, if I remember right. Right. He's got a pretty plain paint job. I'm actually a little surprised to say. I kind of expected him to have a little bit of sort of, I don't know what the grime effect. He will have a teeny tiny non-transforming Scorpinock friend.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, we also got an interview with our video. Was it a video? Yeah, it was a video. With Takara Tomy designer Tomo Tatsumi, who was there with prototypes of Blackout, giving us a close look at the deco, posability, gimmicks, and extra features like the Scorpinock. So this figure is on pre-order in Hasbro China at the moment for 1,649 yuan, which is about $257. I don't know if any of the US retailers have it up for pre-order yet. But if they do, I'm assuming it'll probably come in at about that price, just because, hey, masterpiece. Thing is, okay, so the first thing this led to was a lot of comparisons with the Studio Series.
Yes, I saw you do some comparison images, and I think I saw you put up the two photos next to each other on a tweet, and the tweet simply read,
Yeah. So Studio Series, it was the first Studio Series figure, I believe.
Or one of them. It was an early one at the very least.
And yeah, so I put the two pictures up because I was like looking at one, and I was like, okay. I was looking at the other, like, okay. And I closed my eyes. I opened them again, and I couldn't remember which was which.
Oh.
Because they look extremely similar. Now, obviously, I'm sure this has more engineering going on. Like, one thing I can say, it has flatter feet than the Studio Series one, and presumably it won't have the problem. Like, the Studio Series one has a problem where like the feet rub off the tampos.
Oh, does it? Oh, that sucks.
Because it's on the bottom. The tampos are on the bottom of the feet.
And
the feet are a little bit round, so he rocks a little bit.
I think the forearms looked a little bit different, so I'm sure they do transform differently.
Yeah, and there's more detail here.
Yeah.
But certainly aesthetically, which is becoming such a big thing as people are talking about generations being an affordable alternative to Masterpiece and all that. I don't know what this is doing to make me go like, wow, I need to buy this for $250 instead of, well, I want a Blackout, I better see if I can track down a Studio Series Blackout.
I suppose that just kind of it shows how much better the main line of Transformers have become then, I suppose, or how lackluster maybe the masterpieces have become. One of the two, or both, I suppose you could say. I would agree, though, from what I remember of those two images, there's not a massive difference. It's not like looking at the first movie Blackout toy and then looking at this and then going, oh yeah, I can see why you want this over that, because that was let's just say that. I guess it'll all come down to the engineering and the transformation and maybe the features it has, if it has any fancy features. Obviously it can open up its little poo hole and poop out a Scorpinock.
He can spin his rotor. I know. I'm looking through this thread and I looked at the video and it was just like, there was a lot of little details pointed out, but I wouldn't say they were like...
Hang on, could the Studio Series one not rotate the rotors?
I think it could, but I will say this looks very smooth, like smoother than normal for like a helicopter rotor.
Okay. I'm not sure that's a big seller, but okay.
It's got a good head sculpt. It's got a better head sculpt. I'll say that much. It's got a better head sculpt.
Does it come with the effect parts?
Yes.
I mean, it's cute. It looks a bit cartoony rather than a realistic effect part, which is, for a Masterpiece toy, probably what you should be going for, I think.
Also,
right?
Slightly worrying, like, one of the shots in it is highlighting the upper arms are slightly hollow, and they've got the rotor blade on the right arm, and when he lets go of he pulls the arm out. When he lets go of the arm, it swings back in. It's like the joints can't hold up. I'm really hoping that's because of, prototype issues and not
hopefully
production. I'm sure people are very yelling and angry about this, but I
in
don't
terms
think...
of what, why would they be yelly and angry?
I think the fact that people are like, well, I don't see why I'd get this over the Studio Series would cause some sort of reaction because the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. If the two figures are so similar, then why make the upgrade? I'm sure people will. Some people just want to have the full Masterpiece collection, I guess.
I hope it's good. I hope it's if the transformation engineering could be nuts.
It could be, yeah. Well, you hope it would be. Yeah.
I also think Studio Series never really hit the highs it hit in that first wave.
What do you mean the highs, and
I think
which ones in particular do you mean?
The first wave had like deluxe and deluxe Voyager and leader figures that I think kind of were trickier than a lot of the ones they've done. And then it wasn't long before we started getting like some really messy figures, like the original, the helicopter, and the car version of Shatter and Dropkick, or movie Bumblebee, or stuff like that. I'm just looking like Stinger. Their Stinger was the first wave for deluxe. It was Bumblebee, 76, Stinger, Crowbar, and Ratchet. I know Stinger and Ratchet were good. Crowbar was bad, but he was a reuse of a Premier line figure. Revenge of the Fallen Optimus and Starscream were both very good figures from the Voyager. And the leader was Grimlock and Blackout, and they were very, very well received.
Right.
But like next ones were like Jetfire and Megatron, which were not nearly as well received. I feel like there might have been a design change. Especially since like Grimlock and Blackout had a lot more paint in them than later figures as well. I wouldn't be shocked if there had been a behind-the-scene change.
Well, we've always had I'm sure we've said it before on the podcast. It felt like a lot of the Studio Series figures would the increase in price didn't reflect the increase in price, because they just felt like a normal Kingdom line deluxe figure, but they were asking for at least £5 more for them for no particular reason. It seemed like most of the time.
Really noticeable with 86.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 100% with 86. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. Shall I take this on, Mikey? Do you have anything else on Studio Series Masterpiece Super Duper Blackout?
Go ahead.
All right. We've got 2 reveals, kind of. We talked about this duo, or at least one of the duo, from the Transformers Legacy pack. We talked about Parasite. We saw some shitty images of him kind of scrawled on the floor in a untransformed state. Somebody got their hands on... it's Prime versus Prime again. The person who must be buying all this stuff from China. They have risen up to take the place of the old guard that used to do it. And they have this 2-pack which has Parasite.
I forgot something. I forgot to mention. I saw this yesterday. The CAD model for Masterpiece movie Blackout is already leaked, and a Knockout should be out before Masterpiece Blackout.
Sorry, you said Knockout, and I was thinking Prime Knockout, and I was like, wait a second,
no,
what?
Blackout.
Okay.
So I just reminded myself of that there as I was saying it.
Oh, fair enough. Anyway, the other toy in the set is going to be it's Scorpinock, but this time it's going to be in his toy deco, so he's going to be fully black, going to have purple claws. He's going to have a changeable head, so you can have him as normal Scorpinock head, or you can switch it to the mutant mask mode, which is kind of neat. What do you think of this 2-pack, Mikey? To me, I'm like, it's visually, they're both thematically, well, not thematically, but the colors of them kind of match together quite nicely, because they're both purple and black and highlighted
you can see
red.
the logic. You can see the logic of sticking them together. I think I have a great fondness for the original Scorpinock deco. I will say I think this is the worst looking version of the Scorpinock.
Out of the 3.
Yeah, I like the head sculpt, but I think just the colors in general just don't do it for me as much as like Base Scorpinock or the Sandstorm.
Scorpinock.
Yeah, and especially in Beast Mode, I think the Beast Mode's lacking something. I think the Waspinator. I think the Waspinator looks really, really good in Robot Mode. I'm not crazy about Beast Mode.
Okay.
What about you?
I think visually the colors are quite nice. Sure. I like the fact that Scorpinock's missiles have little tampograph Maximil symbols on them. That's kind of cute. I don't know if the original one had that on as well or not. I like the Scorpinock color scheme for the toy. I don't love it a lot more than the the on-screen color scheme, because it's just, it's black versus gray. It's not a massive leap in terms of color changing. Excuse me. And I hear no one has ever... I've seen nobody really ever say, oh, Scorpinock's a really good figure. Most people are like, eh. So it's kind of like, wow, he got 3 repaints and he's got a very middling to bad reception. Don't know how I feel about that, but okay, fair enough. And the Waspinator, the Parasite, that's fine. Mildly concerned he'll get done another few more times, so you can have that full Waspinator set from BotCon.
Yeah, there are some other color schemes from that set I'd rather have.
Oh, which one?
There was one that's kind of like a white and purple one. I always liked.
I was thinking the white and purple one was kind of neat as well. It's because it's different, but yeah, I'm sure you never know. You might see them, Mikey. Generally, I think it looks good though. I'm less thrilled on the robot mode because I find that the head kind of blends back into his. He's got this little hunch part on his back, which kind of goes up behind his head, and I find that pulls my attention away. It kind of makes his little face blend into his back part rather than stand out quite as much. It's not terrible. It's just it just doesn't look as cool. So it's a set that's coming if you care about that. And the other thing that we got revealed, I don't know why this wasn't revealed on the Fans Tuesday thing, but they wanted to do it here. And now we knew he was coming, and now we've got the price for him. And we've also got when he's coming out, or at least an estimate, and we've also got proper images. It is the Transformers Legacy, Cybertronian, Titan Class, Megalo Convoy. Because I'm not going to call him Metroplex, because he's not Metroplex, he's Megalo Convoy.
Megalo Convoy.
No. If you want to go for another name, I heard Metroflex, and I was like, that's an okay extra name for him. I think Metroflex is quite... Yeah, he's going to flex on you.
The deadliest of all enemies.
Yeah, he's got those tight G-strings, and he's going to flex at you at the beach. It's going to be really uncomfortable.
Duffman is thrusting it in the direction of the problem.
Yeah, it could happen. So, we get to see him in multiple forms. He comes in his robot mode. He has his weird chainsaw digger shovel thing. He can also turn it into a quote-unquote excavator sort of mode. And he has another mode, which is like a slightly squatter...
Kamen Rider.
A what?
I call it a Kamen Rider.
Why?
Look at his face.
Oh, it does look like a bug. You're right, yeah. It's a squat version of his main robot mode. And I don't know why. I assume the original toy did it?
Yeah, the original toy did it as well, and it was in the show a little bit as well, if I remember.
Does anyone remember why he did it?
I think it was called... What was it called? Because, he did it, Menasor did it, and Quick Mix did it.
Oh, okay.
Work mode. It was their work mode. Yeah.
Okay. Not sure how much better that is compared to his other mode, but it's neither here nor there. We'll talk about the box art in a bit because some nice little bits on there. But what do you think of Megalo Convoy, Mikey? You like him?
He was another
A good or a bad
Just like I was like, okay. He does just look like the original toy, but 3 times the size, and he is huge.
Yes, he's massive.
Very, very big. But it's also kind of he's very big, but cool. But it's so weird after the Prime stuff as well.
Oh no, are you literally going to say what I was thinking to myself? I wonder, please go on.
Well, I was thinking wow, Prime got so redesigned. And this guy didn't. And then I read through some quotes from the question and answers Hasbro had.
Oh, I didn't put those on for the news, but yeah, was there anything interesting in there?
Basically Prime and animated, they said was one of those, for them, was a moment of, well, it's as good as it's going to get anyway, and as accurate as it's going to get anyway, which I don't agree with.
I know. If we look at the APC Arachnid, I would say that's not true at all.
And they said that's why they if they were doing animated, they'd redesign them as well. Whereas with this guy, his aesthetic is already G1 enough.
No.
I don't know.
No.
They also said the reason they didn't do Walmart Soundwave is because what was it? They didn't do Walmart Soundwave because Exclusive have a set time. They can't use the mold again until basically Walmart's ownership of it ends.
Okay.
I think it's at least like honest. Like, okay, so you release. I would also say then don't release that Soundwave again.
Yeah,
But,
no, yeah, Jesus,
yeah.
no.
But like, so yeah, he is basically a bigger, more posable version. Like 52 steps of the transformation is something I cannot believe.
52.
52 steps. That's what it says.
Okay.
So
maybe that's right, because a deluxe is like 24 or something, 18 to 24 sometimes.
So I am very much of the opinion that it's probably a little bit of bullshit, but
Maybe.
it could be like you stretch one leg out, then you stretch the other leg out. Weirdly enough, the thing that speaks to me most is the little stocky robot.
Yeah, I think everybody likes that mode. I think everyone's like, oh, that's really cute. It's fun.
Yeah, and I think they added like the changes they made, given the new robot head and making it so you attach the arms on.
Yeah, you turn the weapon into like little extra arm parts. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
But I can't say I love it.
Yeah, I don't think it works in quotations as a G1 looking figure. I mean, you could argue it does, but I think it's because they don't have to do anything to it really for its transformation. They can just, there's not a lot of change that you have to make, because it feels like they just took the original toy, and not having the original toy, I can't say this for certain. It feels like they took the original toy and just made it bigger and just changed some joints on it and everything, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I can't imagine they've diverted from the original transformation scheme that heavily.
It could be a figure that really feels good in hand, but it's also a figure.
I don't know.
Now...
It's a Titan class figure, so I can't imagine that's true.
I don't know. I just haven't handled enough of them, to be honest. But I can tell you that it's now, because of the price increase, it's $180.
Oof.
So it's also like, okay, you need to, that better feel good in hand.
Yeah.
For that. I would like it to be good.
Yes.
Because at least it's not a G1 character. And, you know, the more non-G1, the better. But it's kind of like Blackout. I'm kind of like just looking, going like,
I mean, I guess it makes sense, because what else could you do for a Titan class figure? Really? We kind of running out of big boys.
You could do a combiner, like they did with they've done that a couple of times.
I would say they're not going to do that, just because of how they're doing Menasor. I think if they're going to do any more
animated Omega Supreme.
No, but it wouldn't be animated though, would it, Mikey?
I know, but like you could still at least like try.
Mikey.
Because like you could retool that out of the Arc, actually.
Remember what you just said to me.
Yeah.
About what they said. They weren't going to do that.
You could retool it out of the Arc. It wouldn't be right, but you could.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I'm always interested in this, because like these have so little retool options.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like, it's so interesting to me. They've never done the obvious, like, as frequently as they have. Like, they've done Black Zarek, and they had to do they've done that through their own selecting. They've done Grand Maximus, but that was like you had to vote for one.
That's right. Yeah.
They didn't do anything with Trypticon, even though they could have done Gigastorm. They haven't done anything with the original Metro. Well, they had the original Metroplex and turned them into Fortress Maximus, I suppose.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to me.
Did they do the Blue Guardian from Omega Supreme or not?
No, Omega's never been reused as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's too expensive for them to redo them, even though it's a repaint. Maybe it's just not viable because of the amount you need to sell to make your money back on them.
Maybe.
No, I would say again, I look at this and I go, I don't. It's sad, because I was almost like, maybe they should have done something to the design to make it a little bit more different, but I wouldn't want them to do that to Prime or animated stuff, so I really shouldn't be in favor of them doing that to Galaxy Force or Cybertron stuff. Yeah, I think this is perfect for someone that wants a new, really big Megalo Convoy. I think this is great for them. I don't think it's doing anything. It doesn't look like it's doing anything amazingly different or unique. But for that person or people who want this kind of figure, this is good for them. It looks like it's a good representation of this character. And it looks more accurate to say Fort Max. It looks better than Metroplex, the original one.
Yep.
I'm not sure if it looks better than Omega Supreme and Trypticon. I think they're about on par. They're about on par.
Like them more, I think.
Yeah, I think for accuracy they look better as well. And I don't know about the last. I was never a big fan personally of the last Autobot, so I do think this looks better than that. But I know people generally like the Arc, so yeah. I don't know about that. Not for me, but yeah. Got some. I don't like the transformation is an issue, but then again, it's like, hey, that's what he turned into originally. So what can you do? Now, I think the more interesting thing is the box art, because we have Beast Wars Inferno on there getting exploded into tiny bits. Yep. So in theory, should mean, and I don't see why this wouldn't be the case, that our Beast Wars Inferno is still coming.
I really hope so.
Because it would be so fucking annoying if it wasn't the case and they just put him on there because teehee, fuck you.
Well, we thought Prime Soundwave was coming. What if they're just doing a re-release of Inferno?
What do you mean?
Well, like we thought in the early listings that Soundwave PR stood for Soundwave Prime, and it's actually Siege Soundwave previous release.
Yes.
What if it's Inferno previous release?
But that wouldn't make sense because look at the actual image.
Remember that piece of art that came out that had a crocodile and polar claw and everything else on it?
Yeah, but that was promotional artwork. It wasn't box art.
I'm just saying, Andy. They know what you want and know you must be made to suffer.
I'm saying the two things are not mutually exclusive.
Oh, it's kickback at the bottom. But,
yeah. I can understand why you'd be like suspicious and untrustworthy because that's a healthy mindset. Don't trust people. But I think this is a good indicator. There's also an image of the Nemesis in the background, which people are thinking might be another Titan class figure, and I'm like, well, yeah, fucking why not? Do it. What else? You did the arc, so
I mean, sure, but two Titan classes out of a line.
Oh, I'm not saying anytime soon, but fuck it, right?
I'm sure.
you got the Arc, you get the Nemesis, there you go.
Devastator was in... Oh no, Devastator was for Combiner Wars, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Fortress Maximus was for Titan's Return.
Yes, something like that, yeah. Yeah, I don't think the Nemesis would come out anytime soon, but it might be a hint, or it might just be random background nonsense. Who knows? Either way, do you have anything else you want to say on Megalo Convoy?
I can't say I do. He's still very much a
I tell you what would have been a nice little extra piece for him to come with. A cyberplanetary key or a force chip.
Yeah, they apparently did plan to do... This is another thing from the talk. They were going... early on, they were going to give him his minicon. But that got dropped. And
I thought he had a minicon. Shit.
They thought about giving him... the planet key force chip thing, but they said they just didn't want a losable piece.
I think they should have done the minicon at least because the Arc had what's his name? Teletran.
Oh yeah, Teletran. Yeah.
He was not Teletran actually. It's the action master dude.
Most of not all of them, but most of the Titan Masters have come with an extra figure.
That's true.
Titan Class. Sorry, not Titan Masters.
That's true. Yeah, the Fort Max obviously had his headmaster gimmick. Trypticon had the what's his name?
Little car dude.
Yeah, shit. I can't ever remember its name because it's so superfluous and never had a character. Car dude. Yeah. So that's a good point. It's weird that this guy isn't. That sounds maybe, if I'm cynical, like a cost-cutting measure, if I could speak correctly.
I mean, I would believe that.
Same. Could be wrong though, but I think that makes sense. I think I remember reading on the questions and whatnot that you were mentioning there, Mikey. The increase in price might continue, right? That was one of the answers.
They said basically it's what everyone suspected. It is like a combination of COVID, the oil crisis from and fossil fuel crisis from this year, the fact of the fucking war. And a million other things have just all come together to hit us. And what we're basically going to be seeing for the next year is like each year is going to have a knock-on effect because in each year something shitty happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll wait and see how that plays out.
The thing I always find really annoying about those statements is I understand that, But then you see like the business records, and they're usually doing incredibly well for business, and you're like, well, yeah, this is why, because you keep pushing the price onto us.
Yeah, but
and then they will never
they
lower
have
it
one
again.
goal, and that's to make money, and they will put it on us if they can. And
pretty much.
I mean, one thing I thought was really worthwhile pointing out, because it's such a dominant thing in conversation these days, is they did specifically say Generation toy lines are primarily made for children. We are a consideration, but they were made for children. And like that's why you have so many repeating characters, and that's why you don't have a ton of Titan Class, because most parents are not buying Titan Class.
I don't want any more Titan
that's
Class.
Why
that's fine.
That's why
me.
like open boxes, like they were talking, like we know the lack of plastic, like some people are just making off with heads for some reason, or tearing toys out of the box, but they don't want to go back to plastic, even though they're doing NFTs. But they also don't want to go closed box on Deluxe and Voyager, because those are the primary lines that sell to children. Whereas the leader class is, just because of the price point, your parents are less likely. It's less likely to be picked up and said, like, Mommy, I'm in the shop, buy this.
Oh, wait, I mean, you say that, but if you continue raising the price on Deluxe figures and Voyager figures, when is that going to offset the normal kid consumer?
True. But
I don't know, man.
I think it's considering so many of the conversation can sometimes go back to, we are the important ones because we are the nerds. It's sometimes good to be reminded that, like, we are part of the demographic. ...
I'd also say it's no shot. Oh, I mean, let's be fair. The Transformers community will buy the same characters again and again and again.
Again and 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 again.
So it's not like, oh, why do we get so many repeat characters? Because I think Hasbro knows they can sell them to us.
Yeah, and they are very, like, we all know they're also, like, trapped at this, like, businesses will never try if they don't have to.
Yeah, exactly.
To the point where because I watched Chris's breakdown of it all, because he was on the Zoom call, and I thought it was really interesting. And he said, like, there was a half joke going around, like, the marketing woman that, like, yeah, sometimes we contact them and say, like, you need more A-tier characters in this line.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll go, like, yeah, we're totally doing that. And that's where Laser Prime came from. Because like, we need an Optimus Prime. Okay. Laser Prime.
I mean, for a kid, the kid wouldn't care.
No,
so that's fine. So technically, it does make sense for them to do something like that. I'm okay with that, because it's not just G1 Optimus Prime. It's something different.
And they've also, like, confirmed they're starting to have quotas where, like, we need at least one female per wave usually now. And which I would be way more into if they would not re-release that fucking RC every time to fill that quota now, which
Shadow Striker? Who's that bitch? Never heard of her.
Never heard of her. Aileron. Fuck that.
Clobber? More
like my ass.
Oh, see, I was going to say more like clobber me a sandwich together, bitch.
Yeah, but I'm just like, it just suddenly struck me like, oh my god, that fucking RC that won't die is a quota filler. Jesus Christ. No. Stop. Yeah, no. So anyway, I think if people do want to learn some stuff about that talk, like, Chris did a really, really solid breakdown. But I just like the idea of marketing going, like, you must include these characters. Yes. Also tarantulas.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's interesting that they want more, at least a female character included in most waves now. And I think for me, the issue with that is, we know what they mean by that. They mean RC, and then who they can make from RC.
Yep.
And it's not like touching on any of the other Transformer female characters, ones that never get a look in. And there's a decent amount. There's a decent amount that you could do. You could even make some new female Transformer characters if you wanted as well. Do something do something visually interesting. You know what you could do? Mega Empress team. Do the Mega Empress team. You know why? Because the kids don't know, and they'd just be happy with. Well, they'd fill out the quota for a female Transformer, and I think. Oh. No, it wouldn't be perfect. It wouldn't be perfect. But I was like, maybe Mega Empress out of Inferno. Do some interesting thing. You know, the Inferno fire engine truck.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do something. I don't know. I think you could do something with that, but I think they'll just stick to the easy, in quotations, A-tier characters. I mean, when was the last time we got Windblade? I think it was Titan's Return, wasn't it?
Oh, God, yeah. I was thinking that. It's been a while.
I think it was Titan's Return, actually.
Yeah. I could see us getting, like, just because she's in the comics, Flame War out of the RC.
Ugh.
But yeah. Listen, I suppose we're getting Alita, she's new, we're getting Minerva, she's new, we had Black Arachnia.
Well, we're assuming we're getting Minerva.
Yeah.
We don't know that for sure.
Black Arachnia we got one use of.
No, two. She got repainted into the Buzzworthy line.
Oh yeah, the line no one remembers existed.
The line no one understands. Existing. Yeah, I think that's the important thing. No one understands what this is.
What are you?
I wish that question had been asked. What is the Buzzworthy line and what is its purpose? What is its theme? Anyway,
I think it got mentioned. I don't remember, but
really?
I think Buzzworthy got mentioned. Oh, because someone asked if there were any sublines, and they said no, we're not doing sublines for Generation, but like Buzzworthy is kind of like it's kind of like Selects is where we put like cool ideas we think we can do in the Explosive. Buzzworthy where we just put stuff to add on, which is just like, so it's literally just like, well, we can't fit it here.
I mean, that's how it's felt, to be honest, hasn't it? I think it's only had one unique mold to it as well, which was the Origin Bumblebee. Everything else has been repaints for that line.
Yeah, Origin Bumblebee.
Yeah, that's it.
I'd still like to get that. It actually looks good.
Same. I'm not paying like 30 quid for it, which is how much you can get it for.
Yeah, especially now. But no.
Anyway, Mikey, we've got two last stories if you want to round us off.
Yeah, we've got some convention news. So, TFCon Toronto, July 8 to 10, 2022 has announced Laurie Fazeau. Laurie voiced Dive Bomb, Orion Pax, Rampage, and Skydive, as well as Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, and Tunnel Rat in G.I. Joe. I remember how Raphael sounded in the first Good Turtles movie. I do not remember how he sounded in the one where the parents became insane and said, no one can hit each other. So, all I remember from Secret of the Ooze is the dance scene.
I like Secret of the Ooze.
Not good.
It's a fun film. It's not good. It's not nearly as good as the first one, but I found it fun.
Who else?
You might not like it, Mikey, because it's fun, and you don't like Independence Day or Starship Troopers, so...
I don't really remember Starship Troopers.
You
I don't like Independence Day.
Whining how much you hate it. Not as much as...
I say I don't like Independence. I never talk about Starship Troopers.
I thought you talked about it and didn't like it. I'm sure you have.
I didn't really love it at the time, but I remember liking the effects. But I definitely... Independence Day is bad, Andy. You just have to admit it.
I've never said it's good. I've said it's fun.
No.
Why do you keep equating
Sonic
me to
2 is fun.
Okay. I'm not saying it's not fun.
I don't find bad movies fun. I just don't.
That doesn't mean it's not fun for me, though.
Fun but it does mean that you are what's wrong with society and needs to be cold. Laurie also played at Warden Waddlesworth in Darkwing Duck. Bless you. Man 3 in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Man 3. That sounds like a villain's name, right?
Says he was Skydive as well?
Who?
Skydive in Transformers.
Fuck, why can't I remember Skydive? Oh, G1 Skydive, right? The aerial bot.
I was thinking Skyfire.
I think it is an aerial bot, right? It must be because Skydive sounds like a really generic name, and the aerial bots are super generic, so that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, aerial bot fans.
Yeah, so Laurie is going to be there. I suppose this is probably going to be one of his few convention appearances, because I don't think I've ever heard of Orion Pax, Orion Pax's voice being at anything.
You might be right, yeah.
Another one, which has been announced by TF Nation, which is running this year, should be physical and in person and all that jazz this year. 12 to 14, Hilton, Birmingham Metropole. So they've announced Lindsay Russo? Something. So she does a lot of video game voices. She's in Genshin Impact. She played Gamora in something, I think. But for our purposes, she was Elita 1 in the War for Cybertron trilogy, which was a well-voiced role. Also, she was stupidly excited about being Elita 1 in the War for Cybertron trilogy. I would not stop tweeting about it.
Oh, I'm sorry you were in that show,
I think she is the person who liked the Elita 1 toy.
Oh. Well, I
But
mean, if that's the character you voice, you'd be pretty
Yeah.
happy about that, generally.
So she's
That
probably
makes
got
sense.
like the Elite had pre-ordered for Legacy. But anyway, she's a pretty prolific video game voice actor, so she's going to be there. So that's really cool, I think, because she, it's nice to see someone involved in that show who was enthusiastic, because Lord knows no one else was. So, we'll check her out. She was also in My Crazy Sex as Real Amy. I'm looking through her IMDb.
Okay.
So yeah. So if you're a TF Nation, keep an eye out for her. I think that's it for the news this week.
Ah, cool. Well, Mikey, what you been up to this week? What you done for fun?
Not a ton of fun, if I'm honest. It was a
No!
very, 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 very work week. I managed to last couple of days do some catch up, basically by saying I'm taking a day off and I'm watching some cartoons. I meant to actually start watching The Expanse this week, and I didn't.
I hear that's good until it stops being good.
Well, I've read the books, and they are good until they stop being good, so that's kind of what I'd expect. But I really like the first book from that, Leviathan Wakes. So I'm just curious to see how it plays out. But, okay, I'm going to go through these fairly quickly, just because... Actually, I'm going to bring up my anime list.
Oh my god.
My life chart list. Okay, so today I watched Shield Hero Season 2, Episode 4. This has been very event-focused. It's really about setting up whatever this new norm is, which is fighting this big spirit tortoise and introducing a couple of new characters. I
watched episodes 1 to 3 this week, so we can talk about this if you like.
Yeah, in a sec. I would say... Okay, yeah, so, I mean, I've said, like, I think it's very, very plot-focused at the moment. What's your thoughts?
It's bad.
You're not a fan.
It feels like a filler story.
I was about to say, it feels like this is a manga or a novel filler while he was moving on to whatever is next.
I was going to be more insulting and say it feels like, you remember when Sasuke fought Naruto and then you had an entire year of filler and it was garbage. It's not that bad, but...
because I didn't watch that far into it. But like,
I know this
is real. I know this is from the actual material.
I think the problem is the pacing's really slow. We're not really getting anything new or of value from what I've seen. Also, I was so fucking pissed when they stopped the turtle and they're like, okay, it stopped. Oh, wait, it's going to shoot giant laser spikes from its back. Why would that annoy me, do you think, Mikey? Why would that annoy me?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because it's a far more effective way to kill people than to very, 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 very slowly walk towards their towns and stomp them.
Yeah, I mean, they do say, like, it's not supposed to be doing this anyway, but it's also I don't think they've defined... I don't think they've defined this thing well. Like, they're saying it wants to collect souls, but it doesn't want to collect too many souls. And this is it, basically, if it wasn't being controlled, it wouldn't use this.
I think that is a really bad explanation, because let me give you an example.
Well enough.
I need to kill 100 people, Mikey. I'm going to go around very slowly on the back of a turtle. Or I can go around in a Ferrari with a machine gun. Am I going to get the souls faster one way or another? I don't see there being any logical reason for it not to have used these attacks beforehand, apart from the writer wanted, oh no, it's a thing! It's a thing that's being pulled out of the arse that's just happening because... It's like, no, I hated that. I thought it was really bad.
I want to get past this tortoise thing. I really do. I want to
Same. I don't know how long it's going to last, though, because I was really annoyed where at the end of episode 3, it's like, oh, you're still around? Yeah. So the turtle's not dead.
I knew it wasn't going to be dead. I knew the second they started fighting it, they weren't going to kill it.
I was hoping the worst, that we could get back to interesting stuff that was happening.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the season. I mean, the intro's full of characters we haven't seen.
That's true.
I just want to get... this feels like you said, it feels like a filler story, except it's part of the actual material.
But we're not even... I would have thought, like, if they wanted to do something fillery, we'd get more on the new girl, who was introduced in the last 2 or 3 episodes, and didn't get much character of the last season. We could have been spending these 3 episodes now. We've got a little bit with her, but not nearly enough.
Yeah. If this does turn out to be just an utter shit season, and then season 3 is no better.
That'd be a shame.
I'm still going to have season 1, which was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And if in my brain, Shield Hero just becomes like so many other animes I've enjoyed, where they stopped adapting it. It's fine. It's fine. But I do hope like we're gonna get it back in on character shit and event shit and like stuff I care about, and like hopefully just get. I really hope this Tortoise stuff is we need to get on the other side, because it's plot important and it's something we couldn't adapt out.
Yeah.
Which is genuinely possible. Like, it's very, very possible this is something like, okay, this sets up something super, super cool, but unfortunately it's not great itself, but we can't do it without it.
Yes, yeah, it might be one of those things where it builds up slowly. I agree. Yeah. I was assuming it was going to be much like you had suggested, like ReZero Season 2, where it's a slow build, but I feel that we get more in 3 episodes of ReZero Season 2 than we have done here.
I'll be honest, Andy, we got more in 1 episode of ReZero Season 2, because ReZero Season 2 just threw you in and said, fuck it, you didn't watch the first series, fuck you.
Well, it definitely does that here with Shield Hero Season 2,
but it mattered more.
Really does any. Yes,
I think, because it like... This, you could go into this without understanding the relationships and be no worse off because nothing's happened. Whereas you couldn't do that in ReZero Season 2. You would be completely fucking lost.
I can see where you're coming from now, yeah.
And also, I'm just going to say it, I think ReZero Season 2 started off fantastically and played fantastically and was just a fantastic experience throughout. The only thing marring it was fucking COVID.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, that season 2 of ReZero is brilliant, in my opinion. I love it. I fucking love it. And I'm so glad that show got such an amazing season 1 and then got an amazing season 2.
Agreed.
And I really want this season 2 to pick up, and it, like, season 2, 3, split core thing, I just want this to get really good, because...
And it might, I guess, right?
Yeah, because the writer can do it. The creator could do it. Like, he wrote an incredibly strong first season.
Yeah.
But hey-ho, we'll see. Listen, we ain't gonna shoot the horse just because it's limping, but we are loading the gun.
I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait, and because I'm sure you're gonna continue watching it, you can let me know if it picks up or if it's just a wet fish throughout the entire thing.
And then we'll see if you can basically skip the whole thing, and I can give you a fill-in if it turns out like, oh, the next part's excellent. Okay.
Yeah. So what about episode 4? Because I've done my 3 episodes.
I
Is it
miscounted.
the same?
I miscounted. It was actually episode 3.
Oh, okay.
That's my fault. I watched another episode of I'm Quitting Heroing, which continues to just be kind of a fun, goofy ride, which a weirdly epic opening. It's one of those ones you can't really analyze. It's just fun. It's just a fun romp of a show. Didn't watch Black Rock Shooter this week.
Oh, you've given up being confused and scared.
I'll try it when it's done. Okay. I can't. Did watch the new Digimon Ghost game. Not very horror-y, this one. But did bring in a character from the games, which I was very surprised
When were you expecting it to be very horror-y? Because wasn't this the Digimon show that you've been waiting for, effectively?
Yeah, well, like, it is quite horror-y. Like, they kill lots of people in this show.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you said it wasn't very horror-y. My bad.
No. Just this episode wasn't.
Okay.
Because, like, usually, there's no... It was just kind of like, ooh, the Digimon are being controlled, and they're not really, but cool. Not an amazing episode, just, like, kind of surprising character. I like this show a lot, but it needs to make a move in its plot.
Right.
It has been doing Monster of the Week episodes, basically for its entire run, bar maybe 5 or 6.
Oh.
And now it's like, cool, they're good Monster of the Week episodes. Make a move. If nothing else, we haven't had a new form in 12 episodes, 13 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually I'm not actually too bothered about, because that usually when Digimon does that, it's very plot focused. But like I said, it's Monster of the Week. Any other animes on here I watch? I really want to sit down to Virgin Road and give that a go, but that might be this week if I finish some stuff up. Spy Family, episode 3. So episode 1 introduced Lloyd and Anya, who are the father, the spy dad, and the Esper daughter, and Episode 2 introduced Yor, who's the assassin mother, and this was episode 3 is about them finally moving in together and starting their scheme of getting Anya into school. And it's really hard to explain why they want to do that, because basically it's Cold War, and it will bring world peace somehow. This show is incredibly good fun. It's very, very funny. It's wit and clover work. So when there's an action bit, and there's a small action bit in this, it's just like, oh god. It's so well done. This was mostly about like trying to train the mother and the daughter for the interview, and like not going well at all. And he's slowly losing his marbles, but then he's kind of reminded that he can, it's about working with the materials you have, not materials you think you need. And it's our first real time spent with Yor Eider and her interacting with Anya, and they get on really well. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to episode 4. It's about a week to go, unfortunately, but I'm really, really enjoying this series. It's really funny.
Good.
It's hard to talk about, but really funny. What else did I do? Revice is in what I'm calling the Wrap Loose Ends Up arc.
Okay, what's that mean?
Basically, it's setting up, I think, for the next major story, but it's got like, okay, we need to deal with Aguilera, and we need to deal with the Deadmans, and set stuff up, and we just need to get those out of the way. And like a lot of the plot points at the moment are like, this one was about dealing with Aguilera and setting up some of Icky stuff, and it did just kind of feel like wasn't bad. I'm not complaining about it. I'm kind of not loving this arc, I'll be honest, but I'm not complaining about the quality of this episode. I thought it was fine. It's just like, it's so clearly like Aguilera isn't going to be hugely important, at least for a bit, so we want to wrap her up.
Right.
Which happens sometimes in a show that's going for 50 episodes. But I am being reminded of, like, sometimes watching a show, like, it's been a while since I was enjoying a writer show and then felt that bloody hump. You know the hump.
I do.
The mid-season hump. And, like,
yeah.
It's not always there in writer shows, but it can be. And, I think I got a bit spoiled by, like, Exade and Build and stuff like that.
We all did, because they were really good. I think I hit that hump a little bit earlier than you did.
Yeah, looking back on it, I think the wrap-up stuff starts like, okay, we need to get evil out of the way. And we need to get the bad guys out of the way. And we need to just set up. But hey, listen, we'll see how it goes. Bought some games on sale on PS4.
Oh.
So nothing major. Yakuza 3. Started that yesterday. I only really went through the first chapter.
That's the prequel, isn't it? That's the youngest version?
No, Yakuza. So I played 0, Kiwami, and 2.
Oh, okay.
Which is the prequel, the first game, the remake of the first game, and the remake of the second game.
Right.
3 is obviously Yakuza 3. And yeah, so it's the first one I've played that is the original game remastered, not remade.
Oh.
So it's got the original combat system, all the original graphics just tidied up and everything else, and the original vocal performances, yada, yada, yada.
Does it feel much older then?
It does visually, and how characters move definitely feels older.
Okay.
Writing it still feels the same. It still feels like the same franchise and characters and everything else. And like it hasn't, like the story hasn't really got moving yet. It's just like you open with a flash forward and then you do a flashback into everyone leaving Kamurocho and moving to Okinawa to run an orphanage, and Majima and Kiryu having a fight because that's like how they say hello. But like it's Yakuza. I'm expecting at least a halfway decent story. And what else I got? I got Lego Jurassic World for a $5. I had the DS version back in the day,
right?
Which was like a really limited version, lots of stuff cut out. So this is my first time playing the main one. It's got a weird thing where they sampled all the audio from the games, or from the movies rather. So Star Wars is usually like mute. This one they've sampled audio from the movies, but sometimes they didn't sample it very well. So like you do not wear headphones playing this game is a bit of advice I'd give people, because sometimes it will just go blah.
Well, you say Star Wars is silent. It used to be, but it must have been around the Jurassic era when they started to put the movie lines into the games.
Oh, did they? I haven't touched
a
Lego Star Wars game, and I don't know how long.
Yeah, the newest Lego Star Wars game looks really fucking garbage as well. Looks like it's a real downhill from the kind of the era of Lego games that you're playing at the moment.
Yeah, it's
But
fun.
they're
Like
they're great. They're kind of just mindless chill games, if I remember.
And a lot of character to this, and a lot of like little jokes. I'm enjoying it. But what else did I get? Crisis. I got that. I haven't tried that yet. I got that for a $5, and I got this for a $10, and I've been wanting to play it since it came out. But it's always been like 60, 70 kind of thing. What's it called? Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Not The Force Awakens. That's the bloody movie. The terrible, terrible movie.
Do you mean the Star Wars game that's kind of like mixed in with Dark Souls combat mechanics?
Jedi Fallen Order. I heard because that got really good reviews at the time,
right?
And people said it had really good story and everything else. And I was always slightly put off because anytime I saw trailers, I saw the weird, like some of the facial animations reminded me of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
But it was a $10.
Yeah, this is the one that I thought it was. It's the one that people said had some combat elements similar-ish to Dark Souls, but not knowing if that's true or not because I haven't played it.
Maybe this will be how I'll get over my Dark Souls hump.
Maybe.
And I've got Bloodborne on the PlayStation, and I'll go back to that, really and I'll be like, my God, what was I missing out? And I'll buy Elden Ring, and I'll stop complaining. But we'll see. Oh, and I just because it was €2, I got Rayman Legends platformer.
Not everybody loves Raymond.
No, Rayman. That would be a very different platformer.
No, don't do it.
Everybody loves Raymond. And apart from that, the only thing I did was watch season 2 and the finale of Pacific Rim: The Black.
How was it?
Very weird, for want of a better term.
Good. Weird?
I think it's okay. So I'm going to add some qualifiers to this.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I think it's missing a season.
Oh.
I think they got cancelled early. Because what they've done is basically, it feels like they've missed their transition season from season 1 to season 2. There's no continuity errors, but it feels like this was supposed to be more developed, and the stuff with Boy was supposed to be more developed, and the stuff with the AI was supposed to be more developed. But what they have done is well written. But
would you say it almost feels like if they cut out the Two Towers from Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't say it's quite as extreme. Okay. Because I do think they made changes to make it flow, but there's just moments I'm left asking a few questions and everything else. I'm just like, this feels like it would have been answered in a 20-something episode season.
Okay.
And I'm nearly, because Netflix is cancelling a lot of their animation. We found out this week.
Well, that's because Netflix is bleeding subscribers at the moment.
And their approach to it was get rid of the content and charge more.
Yeah.
But well, they had the market for 10, 12 years, and then everyone else caught on to the market.
Yeah, and they didn't really do anything to keep the audience, basically. Their
major original shows weren't really that original, shall we say.
It's weird because the original shows, at first, there were some really good ones, and then they became worse and worse, seemingly.
Yeah. And now, weirdly enough, they're at the standard of everyone else's original shows.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not interested in the Lord of the Rings series that's coming out. I think it'll be a bit.
Oh, that's Amazon. That's not Netflix.
Yeah, but I was just thinking think of original online shows and just I think that's just going to be Game of Thrones with Lord of the Rings, and I think it'll be a bit shit.
It'll be the Lord of the Rings IP. It won't be Lord of the Rings. It'll be Lord of the Rings as much as current Star Trek is Star Trek.
Yeah. Except everyone's having incest sex or something like that, because that's what you do these days. Picard.
Well, wasn't there a Pornhub statistics map which showed different parts of America and how much people were into incest porn? It was really high across most of America, and then there were some places that were into MILFs, and then there were some places that were into other stuff. But I think primarily the viewers were looking for incest porn. So
what? Everyone was just we need to work this into our dramas.
Yamite Oni-chan. Help step, bro. I'm stuck.
I think I actually saw something that used that exact line like in a movie once.
Because that's a meme. That became a meme because I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure because help step bro, I'm stuck. It was such an incesty thing. It became a meme and everybody started using it.
Like I think that is in a lot of hentai.
Yeah. And goddamn, how often has like the VTubers lady said help step bro, I'm stuck.
Yes. Even the ones who aren't speaking English.
Yes,
hello,
exactly.
Although she'd be more stepbro in that scenario, I suspect.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Watch a very well-edited video called The Beginner's Guide to Hosho Marine last night.
Oh, no.
Which was very... Like, he did a whole series of them, and I liked his Suisei one, because it was just like, she's an amazing singer! Ignore this cut. She's wonderful! Ignore this cut. Like, do not look here. There is no blood. No one has died.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. But yeah, the black... it still had the jittery animation in the humans, but it's polygon. But it's still very smooth with the robots and the kaiju. I still don't like Boy's kaiju design.
Okay.
It is a gremlin. I've never liked it. But a couple of original designs in this are kind of good. There's some ideas in here I like. There's one episode which was very tense, but looking back and the story just felt a little bit forced. But overall, I'd say it's a 7 out of 10. I think it's a drop in quality from season 1. I think it's still very watchable. I like the ending. I think the ending's a bit sudden, again, because I think the whole thing got cancelled. But I liked it, and there's a really cool moment where Kaiju catches a missile out of midair, and it's awesome. There's a lot of repetition of stuff in this as well.
It sounds like at least you're saying it's better than the Transformers War for Cybertron series.
Oh, yes. But
well, so like, there's that.
This is something I think, especially for someone like you, I would say like this would put Andy off. Just like, wow, you are saying the same thing 4 times in 4 episodes.
Oh no!
Stop doing that. Stop yelling that, young child. We get it.
Maybe they're basing it off like old Shonen series because they did that in the Shonen series a lot as well.
Maybe. But yeah, I prefer season 1. I do.
Right.
I think as a whole the show's like an 8.
Okay.
But I think a lot of these issues would be alleviated if there was an extra 8 episodes in between the ones we've got.
Almost like an entire other season, like you mentioned.
Or Netflix season, anyway. I'm doing inverted commas.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I really... Also, the trailer for Camp Cretaceous Season 5 came out, and lots of people got angry.
Is that Netflix, by the way, or is that just...
That is Netflix. That is
okay.
It's the finale of Camp Cretaceous.
So
Season 4 did not go down well.
Why are people angry about this season, then, from the trailer?
There is this... Well, the trailer doesn't do much beyond showing like a T-Rex named Big Edie. I didn't name her. And a few other things. But boy howdy, is there a scene where everyone just froze up and went, I'm sorry, what? Which is a scene where people are standing there with a remote control in each hand.
Okay.
And are driving a Carnotaurus. Like they're not like a video game. Like they're controlling a video character.
No.
I'm saying a Carnotaurus, which is the ones with the horns at the side.
Mm-hmm.
Baryonyx, which is one of the Baryonyx from earlier in the show, actually, called, I think its name's Chaos. So, an established character. And best of all, the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus.
Man.
They are driving him like a video game
Dino
character.
Riders is looking a little bit less silly now, isn't
like,
it?
no one's sitting on him. I will say, there's no one sitting on them. But it's just a line of people standing there with video games with the villain from movie 3 standing next to them. And they set up the idea in season 4, because season 4 was quite bad, that, we're looking for ways to control the dinosaurs. And people are saying this is building up to something in the movies, which like the new Raptors are going to be remote controlled somehow.
Okay.
I think the movies
sense.
will... I don't know. If
for
the movies do
logic,
it enough...
I say it makes sense because that's what they were building towards for like the main villain from World, right? He was like
it was like, we'll control them, we can't control them. Indoraptor, we've got some kind of control, but the fucking thing's insane. And then like the next one is just like, we figured out a control. But like I think they'd be smarter going like, we've trained them, not that we have a remote control or something like that. But this wasn't just like, it's sending a signal, go here. It's like they're holding a PlayStation controller or an Xbox controller, and the Spinosaurus is just on a rail, going like.
What do you mean on a rail?
He just it's like he walks like a robot.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying.
And to be fair, this show has a little bit of a problem with walk cycles anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. I suppose we are going to, because like technically the T-Rex is in this season. It's not Rexy, and it's been portrayed pretty sympathetically.
Okay.
So I suspect like I said, like, and on the other side of it, you'll have 3 T-Rexes in blue, and they're all lined up for like a face-off. But I'm assuming we're going to have the controlled Spinosaurus fighting the T-Rex from season 4.
Well, you said other people were angry about it. How did you feel about it when you saw it?
I
Were you
was
okay
like,
with it, or?
I mean, I really didn't like season 4.
Okay.
Not like I don't mind the sci-fi stupidity.
You
can
like, accept it. Do you think it works with the Jurassic Park universe? Or Jurassic World?
Cretaceous, yeah. On a reduced degree, it will work for World.
Okay.
Like, I don't think you can have one standing there with a remote control in the movie saying the Giganotosaurus, I've now pressed its block button. You please don't do that.
Oh no, the lag. It's lag. Fucking lag.
That's how Rexy wings. It starts lagging. But in the context of a cartoon, okay, leads to a cool fight, but it is really dumb, and they have season 4 burnt through a lot of people's goodwill that they spent a lot of time earning with season 1 to 3. Season 1 to 3, good seasons. Season 4, really bad and really, really un-Jurassic. Like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. Really un.
Really
also,
un-Jurassic.
I think 4 dinosaurs.
What do you mean?
No,
5. What do you mean?
So season 4 Jurassic of Camp Cretaceous had 2 T-Rexes, one of which disappears, a Kentrosaurus who disappears, a Ceratosaurus, a couple of babies. That's it.
Oh, right, okay.
And a Spinosaurus. So that's, 7 or 8 individual dinosaurs in the show, where previously we had an island full of them.
Right.
However, we have an infinite supply of robots.
Well, yeah, robots easy to make.
One of it is basically a humanoid robot shark.
Oh my god. Oh, like the 90s horror film where there's a shark. Do you know the one I'm talking about? They were experimenting on sharks, and they made a man shark.
Yeah, basically imagine that, but a robot. Great White, I believe.
Was it Great White?
It's based on a book.
It's pretty. Oh, it was by the guy that did Jurassic Park, wasn't it?
No, Peter Bentley.
Oh, Pete Bentley. Okay.
Who was the guy who did Jaws?
Oh. Well, there you
go. Yeah. But yeah, like season 4 burned through a lot of goodwill. So just like, okay, if season 4 had been good, I would be kind of like, okay, this is going to be okay, we're going superhero ending. Okay, cool. Season 4 was bad, and I'm like, you're remote controlling the most controversial villain in the franchise like a video game character.
The guy from number 2.
Who was it? Oh no, like the Spinosaurus is way more controversial than him.
Only to you.
No, Andy. Andy, come now. That wasn't even like innocent. That was just like, what?
That's me just throwing a brick at your face.
No, yeah, like, because there aren't entire like discussion articles on whether it was a good idea or anything like that written by people for the last 14, 15, how many years? 22 years. Oh my god, that scene is so dumb!
Which one?
Joe Johnston should never direct anything.
Man.
I'm very happy to say that. I've never seen a good Joe Johnston movie. Anyway, that's all I've got. That's all I can say. Andy, what about you?
What have I been up to? Well, I decided to watch some movies today. I decided to rewatch Spider-Man 2. It's still very good. It's still a lot of fun. You realize when you rewatch that as an adult versus as a kid, this isn't about a Dr. Octopus. This is about Spider-Man deciding not to be Spider-Man anymore. Kind of obvious. I tell you what, though, I think the choreography of Spider-Man fighting Dr. Ock is way more interesting visually as a fight scene than most of the current MCU.
I think it's very well done. Although I never liked that bit where like he's got the 2 tentacles and they're on the side of the train and he pulls them out and it's just like he's just like ah.
Which bit do you mean? What do you mean pulls him out?
They're riding on the side of the train,
Mhm.
and like he's after webbing 2 tentacles, and he's like, I think he's webbed the train as well to hold on, and he just gets pulled over, and it always makes me laugh because he just gets pulled over, and you just have Tobey Maguire going, ah! It's like, what the fuck?
I think I really like the directing that Sam Raimi does because it's very creative. There's a lot of interesting stuff that you don't get from a lot of movie creators, like you remember when Doc Ock is climbing up the side of the building, and then it just cuts to the interior, and this woman with massive wabs, who I think is meant to be Gwen. I don't think it's ever said. A tentacle comes through the wall. She goes, and then another one comes through, and then she starts running towards the camera, screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't get stuff like that. That's very Raimi. And when the taxi gets thrown through the coffee shop. And then it just does really quick zoom-ins on the character as they hear the thuds. And it just goes back and forth between like them, quick zoom into their face, to the side street, quick zoom into the side street, then back to them. It's kind of those kind of shots that you don't get from other film directors, especially the current movie stuff, which is just make it look all the same. So
well, make it in CG, make it so CG, but don't direct it.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, it's very obvious CG in this movie.
Oh yeah,
it's very obvious CG, but I still think what they actually did was more creative than say Far From Home. The thing that makes Far From Home visually interesting isn't the actual fight; it's the stuff happening around the fight. Being inside the part I mean is Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange. Like the fight in the mirror universe, the spectacle is the kaleidoscope effect itself rather than the actual fight. The fight's not that interesting.
Yeah,
it's the visuals around it.
You know, as you know, you and I would both say it's the best Marvel movie in years, but it is the fight with the Spider-Man fight at the end is not visually interesting.
No.
It's well laid out, and I think there's good editing in it and stuff like that. But I just don't like. Okay, cool, like basic Spider-Man shit. Like I said, like. I love that. I really do love that movie, and it's been years I've said that about Marvel. But it's like, it's because I think the character writing is really solid, and I think it's a fucking Spider-Man movie, and it's the first Marvel Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
The action is of a standard.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And then you've got Raimi doing this stuff, and it's just good. It's goofy, but it's goofy in like a fun way. Which is maybe you could argue maybe that's what comic book films are missing at the moment.
I mean, would it be shocked, Andy, if I said the best directed comic book movie we've had in recent years is Spider-Verse?
No. No. I was just thinking back to it, and yet again, the action scenes in that were very, very interesting. It wasn't again just because of the visuals, but because of how they moved the camera around, the actual fights. What he did in the at the end fight with Kingpin, you know, dancing through the buildings while they're exploding. Again, it's kind of the premise is similar to Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange. The premise is the same. There's a lot of shit going on, but I think they do more interesting things in that space with the debris flying around in Spider-Verse than they did in Far From Home. Yeah, they do a lot of so I was really happy to go back and watch that because I'd still say Spider-Man 2 holds up nicely. It's different from today's movies, but I think it's good. There's a lot of heart behind it.
I love that bit where like he just before that fight kicks off and he just like, where is she? Oh, she's fine, let's talk. And it's like he does the finger gesture and just like, oh, you're very good at that.
Yeah, you can see why they brought him back for Far From Home because Alfred Molina's just he's really good as Dr. Octopus.
And
I don't like the initial premise of Dr. Octopus in the Raimi films with the tentacles controlling him or making him crazy. I'm not a big fan of that, but it doesn't really matter because it just comes out well. And obviously James Franco's not very good in that film, but it's James Franco, so
yeah. But I think he's really good as Otto Octavius.
Yes, 100%.
Like, I think that is when his... Like, because I think he does a really good job as Doc Ock, but I think Otto Octavius is actually, like, the best part of that movie in some ways, character-wise and writing-wise.
You mean before he goes insane and he's just, he's just having the conversation with Peter about poetry and about, like, love life and stuff like that?
Yeah, and or, like, the first time he meets Peter and just, like, I hear you're brilliant. Yeah, thanks. I hear you're lazy.
Yes, yeah, like, brilliant but lazy or something like that. Yeah,
the world doesn't owe you anything is essentially the conversation they have, and I thought that was like really well handled.
Yeah, they try and establish him as a father figure or Uncle Ben replacement, and it's because it's not super focused on Doc Ock. They don't go very hard into that, unlike the Spider-Man game, where they go a lot harder into that aspect. While obviously the movie's primarily, like I said, as everybody knows, it's about Peter Parker going, man, being Spider-Man fucking sucks. Am I not allowed to be happy? Because that's like one of the lines he says. Am I not allowed any happiness? And I was rewatching it and I just went, no, you're meant to suffer, Spider-Man. That's your character trait. You're never happy.
You get to be crying and saying, like, no, and then occasionally you get to be rebooted in a really insulting way.
Exactly. That's the best you get, Spider-Man. You don't ever get to be happy. Sorry, bro. I think Aunt May is better as well in these movies. It's more it's not just hot Aunt May, it's proper Aunt May who you're like, man, what a good old lady. She's very good.
Yeah, like hey, we're going to make a hot lady joke.
Do you remember when Doc Ock has her and he's got the claw coming out of his tentacle, and she's like, ooh, you rotter, or something like that, and bats him in the side of the head. You ruffian, oh, how dare you. She bats him in the side of the head. That's great.
Yeah. And this is like, you changed my mind about you, Spider-Man, and like we did what was it? We did pretty well. And she's like, we?
Yeah. A lot of characters, fun. She's a very fun lady. I think that movie's good. I might give 3 a rewatch, but I know for a fact I'm not gonna really enjoy the writing or much about it. But I'm hoping like Raimi's directing will again be quite interesting. But I can't remember if the direction is as interesting as the previous movies.
The direction is good enough because
it's probably good.
It's a terrible scene, but him dancing is a very well framed scene.
Yes.
Just you don't want to see it, but it's a well framed scene.
It's so strange. I might give it a rewatch. I do like the first one as well. I do like Willem Dafoe a lot as well because he's just crazy. And I'm quite the scientist myself, you know. I love how that's become a random meme, and it's such a weird meme.
I love that it became a random meme that they played straight in No Way Home.
Yeah, I'm a scientist myself. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. So I did that. I also watched a movie called. I'm not sure you'll know this film, but I know you know it. You definitely know it. It's a movie called Cape Fear. Cape Fear? Yeah, Cape Fear.
Name's familiar.
You know this episode, Mikey. You know this movie, Mikey. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons where Sideshow Bob gets out of prison, and it's the first introduction of Sideshow Bob stepping on the rake, and he's chasing after Bart.
I love that so much.
And he's chasing after Bart, and it ends with them on a houseboat.
Yes, and they have to say, I will send you to heaven before I send you to hell.
Yes, that's Cape Fear. It's Cape Fear with Robert De Niro. It's a movie where it starts and it doesn't start, but it goes quickly into the cinema scene where Robert De Niro's smoking the stogie in the cinema, laughing really loudly, which again they do in the Simpsons episode as well. I didn't know it was that to begin with, but I started watching it. I was like, oh, The Simpsons actually ruined it for me because I knew pretty much everything that was happening in it. I'd seen it all. Like I think it's a movie that's been referenced a lot of times over. So the idea behind it, if you didn't know, excuse me, Robert De Niro's character is a rapist and I guess a pedo because he rapes 16-year-old girls and kills them. Brutally brutalizes them and whatnot. He gets out of prison after being in for 14 years to go after his defendant lawyer because his defendant lawyer buried information that the lady he'd beaten was promiscuous, and thus would obviously throw into the jury's light that, oh, well, maybe, this is 1991 logic that maybe she was asking for it, et cetera. So because his defense attorney buries it, he learns about it. He then goes, I'm going to ruin this guy's life because technically what he did was wrong. As his defense lawyer, he shouldn't be burying information that could help his client. But he wanted to do it because, fuck him. He's a piece of shit and he deserves jail time. So it's about going through and Robert De Niro ruining this lawyer's life and trying to kill him by the end. It's that. It's not bad. Like a thriller. You can see why it was referenced by The Simpsons, because it is a good film. And if I hadn't seen that Simpsons episode, I probably would have liked it more. It does have some issues. Like, there's a suggestion that Robert De Niro is able to get into their house, the lawyer's house, but it never tells you how. It's never been explained to. I don't think the movie ever explains how he gets into the house. But maybe I'm wrong. Oh, Cape Fear is actually based on a 1961 movie.
Oh.
Which I didn't know. Huh. Yeah, it had Gregory Peck, Robert, someone in, and Polly Bergen. Bergen. I didn't know that. Well, that's interesting. So I did that this week. What else did I get up to? Oh, I got Igneous, the Legacy Igneous figure. Because I was like, sure, okay. Amazon had it. I was like, well, I'll grab it because I've got something else I want to get from Amazon, which hasn't arrived yet. He's quite fun. I don't think he's worth £12, because that used to be the price of a deluxe back in my day when, I was young and hopeful.
When were you young?
What? When was I young? Long time ago. Don't ask me about these things. He's got some weird things, like his hips and his knees are both tight and loose, depending on the direction that you try and move them. His hips are tight when you try and move them, like, to give them the splits, as Jobby would say. But moving them forwards and back, they're a little bit on the looser side. It's quite strange, the tension on him. The transformation, it's fun enough, but he does transform into what I would describe as nothing. A weird motorbike, which I'm sure everybody's seen the images of. But I don't mind it because it feels fun. It doesn't need to be a convincing motorbike to me, because its transformation is quite fun. And because he's Igneous, like, come on, he's a pretender robot. What's he gonna? If you remember what the pretender robots transformed into, you'd be like, yeah, well, I guess it's close enough.
Accurate.
Yeah, exactly. But generally, I'd say I like it. I like the head on it. The articulation's not bad. It does get a little bit clumped up in places, like around the hips. They're kind of squared off, so the hip joint kind of hits off the belt, where the belt is, which can be a little bit annoying. But apart from that, yeah, I wish he didn't have the shit weapon. I wish he had, like, his own weapon rather than, buy these 3 core class figures to make a sword that one of the figures can hold. I think that's a bit lame, personally. Especially for Skywarp. Skywarp suffers the most since he loses his null rays. But, yeah, Igneous. I'll be interested to see if they do anything with him. Because, unfortunately, the core class line is filled to the brim with just G1 redos of Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, Hot Rod. And then you get 1 or 2 interesting characters like Rat Trap and the Bone Dinosaur thing and Igneous. The rare ones, which are probably the much more interesting characters or things that you haven't seen before. So I'll be interested to see what they do with them all. But yeah, overall, I do like it. If you could get it on sale, I think it's better. I'm not sure it's worth £12. But I'm a stickler for money, so, depending how free you are with your cash will depend on how much value you get from this, I suppose. But yeah, I like it. I think it's fun. Did I get up to anything else? I got Warhammer Battle Sector. It's been a game I've wanted for a while, but I always thought the original price tag of £30 was a little bit steep for what it was. I was able to get it for half price, and it's a lot more acceptable. It's very close to the actual tabletop of how it works, but it moves in like a turn-based strategy kind of format. So it's the Blood Angels versus the Tyranids. The narrative takes place after a book called The Devastation of Baal, which is quite nice that it kind of ties in like that. It's not a direct hard tie-in, but it's kind of loosely tied in, like with the events and whatnot. I haven't finished it yet, but I am streaming it. But overall, I'm enjoying it. I think it's fun. It's a fun little experience. And I was playing Hollow Knight as well. I've been doing more Hollow Knight this week, and that's quite fun. Can get a little bit frustrating in places, as Castlevania games can do, especially with the precision I think you need with Hollow Knight. But again, Hollow Knight, unsurprisingly, everyone knows Hollow Knight's a good game. It's a good game. Have you played it, Mikey? I can't remember.
I have.
You have. Did you finish it?
I think I did.
Okay.
In a while.
I'm trying. It's quite hard to describe where you are. I think. In that game. Yeah, because you can just kind of wander around. But I enjoy it. But yeah, there's some of the precision jumping which can get a little bit annoying. You know, where you need to jump and press down and attack to bounce over something or bounce off of stuff. That can be a little bit frustrating sometimes. Like, I need to get better with my button presses. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's me done, Mr. Mikey. Where can people find you? Oh, no, do we have any questions first? I should ask that.
Oh, I forgot to check.
Oh my god.
Let us look at the world of questions.
Questiones, if you would. Pastiones.
Backside.
What?
Yes, we have a question.
Oh,
this is from Andreas. So, this just clarifying something from last week. Not stickler for scale, long figure in the right ballpark. I'm good. Animation scale chart seemed to be a bad starting part given the wonky poses and skewed perspective. I actually thought about that this week. A prime scale chart came out. People were like, wow, I never realized Starscream was that tall. I'm just like, he isn't that tall in the show. This is an early scale chart. So, based on somewhat related, given that Hasbro seems to be moving forward to the Unicron trilogy for toys, where the toys and animation models are basically a copy of one another.
Is that true? Are they moving into that?
Maybe. That's what you get out of me.
Where's the Armada Prime, Mikey?
Where's the RID Optimus? If you skipped a generation. Where's
RID
Megatron?
We've actually seen an Armada Prime prototype.
No,
that's what I meant.
No, you didn't.
Do you remember, like, a few weeks back when there was a someone made a joke box for that? I thought that was really annoying. I was like, you piece of shit, fuck you.
Yeah, it's been floating around the last few weeks as well. I think it was an anniversary of the time it came out.
You piece of shit. One asshole.
But anyway, would you prefer if the characters look like toy animation with added articulation or stylized to look better proportioned? With the reveal of Cybertron Metroplex, I guess we know which way Hasbro is going, but even third parties seem to fall close to the animation models. I would prefer stylized approach since the original designs never looked particularly cool to me. They have some great Super Robot design cues that would benefit greatly from a stylized approach. Andy?
I think that's a very fair point. And besides, we've already had the original animation models, I think, pretty accurately represented with the original toys. I think they did a great job representing what was on screen for the most part. Armada gets a little bit more... for the most part, like Hotshot, for instance, but I think they did a good enough, especially by Galaxy Force or Cybertron. They were on model. I don't know what else you'd want from them.
Well, they were literally using the, I don't know if they were called CAD models then, but...
They were using whatever CG models, yeah. So
yeah.
The only thing you can do is just give them more articulation. It's like, okay. I'd like a little bit more. I think, like Andreas says, like, giving them some different style of proportions to help some of their designs would not be amiss. Not completely changing them, but like you say, just like tweaking bits here and there to help things smoothen out or round up. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Or like if we're gonna use like Armada Blur, maybe not give him quite a massive backpack that he had. That might be okay. Stuff like that. Making Scorpinock a little bit cooler from Energon again.
Yeah, give him like a wrist.
Yeah, Jesus. Bless that boy, he cannot move his arms super well. Yeah, I would like to see a little bit of style taken with them, preferably. But then again, I think redoing the Autobot 3 brothers from RID, very important, because they were not fun Transformers. The toys for them were not fun. They were visually kind of interesting, but I don't think they were very good transforming toys that you enjoy. Well, I didn't enjoy playing with, but I think they looked good in both modes. And I think if we could streamline that transformation to make them fun and yet look like they do in both modes, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. But then again, I'd like to see a redo on Galvatron as well from RID or Megatron, I suppose.
Yeah.
What about you, Mikey?
I would always lean. I'm always going. I know with all the Prime stuff, people forget this. Like I said, they get me what I asked for, not what I wanted. But I would always lean towards stylization. I think I would always like to see fresh takes on characters.
Sure.
And like either new characters or fresh designs and fresh design sensibilities. Like I'd love to see what you could do with a modern design sensibility on a character with cues off of Scorpinock from Energon. But let's say like, okay, we're going, Beast Wars is getting updated show model figures. Prime isn't because they hate me, but Cybertron is getting at least one. Armada's probably getting one. I would like stylized versions to super robot them a bit.
Sure.
It would be fun, but I also like. That's the thing. I would, if it was gun to my head, like I'm the only one buying. Yeah, I would like stylization, but I also recognize the fact that some people like they've never had a chance to get any. It's not like G1 where we've had 1,000 chances to get half of these characters. You know, if you liked Armada Red Alert, you haven't had a chance to buy him since 2005.
That's true. Yeah.
And to be fair, technically, since before then, because the character in Cybertron's a different character. But let's just call a spade a spade. If you liked Cybertron Soundwave, which I really liked, you haven't had a chance to... you've never had a chance to get a good version of that toy.
No.
You've got one that looks like the show model, but...
That was not one of the most fun Transformers ever.
Scorpinock's a great example because I love that figure. It's such a fun time, but it would be great to get an updated version.
I can give you one that you could use
Armada
multiple
Megatron
times.
would make sense.
Snowcat.
Snowcat, yeah, that would be good.
And you could make Snowcat into a G.I. Joe reference as well, because it's based on a G.I. Joe vehicle, so you could slap it with the Megatron that's coming with the Baroness and do it as a special. There you go.
Yeah. Also, you could do, especially with the combination gimmicks and stuff that went on in Cybertron, you could do a lot more with the engineering these days.
Would you like to see a Titan Class tidal wave? That could be fun.
Commander, maybe, but not Titan.
Okay, I'd be happy with either.
Just because I think I'd find Commander more fun, to be honest.
Yeah, that's just yeah. I said Titan because like I remember him from the PS2 game being stupidly big.
He's large. But like there's a lot of characters I'd like to see give a go.
Sure, yeah. The Sharkticon from Energon. Do you remember that unique mold?
Yeah, that was
That's
really,
cool.
really good toy.
It was very good, still is. I think you could do something with that design. That'd be fun. Slugslinger as well from Energon. That was a unique design as well. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. They returned that into Air Razor at one point, didn't they?
I'm gonna say yes. It was for like a BotCon or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mirage, like tidy up Mirage would be good. Energon
Mirage?
Starscream was a great design.
Oh, do you mean Energon Mirage?
Yeah.
Okay.
God, there's a lot. Like, I would like to see, especially since, they're doing the Motormaster Stunticon guys this way. I think it would be really good to see what you could do with the Powerlinks gimmick with modern toys.
Yes and no. No, because I don't want to see Energon Ironhide ever.
No, he's terrible. He'd probably come with Kicker.
Yeah, what a fun team.
But as a gimmick, it could work a lot better now.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of like I'm in a middle. I suppose I'm in a middle ground. Like, if we were going about with the current sensibility, go for improved articulation and stylize where needed. But I would always say I would rather have a stylized version of the character first and worry about, meeting the needs of it must look like the character model, because the character model is not the be all end all to me.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Anything else?
No.
All right. We have some messages from Christoph Carlson on the Facebook page. I really enjoyed the Sonic 2 movie, and I have 2 questions about it. Any thoughts of the tie-in toy line? This will have to be for you, Mikey.
Yeah.
And if Jim Carrey don't come back, do you think Team Sonic versus Team... I'm going to blank this out because I know what it means, but I'm going to... Team can carry a movie on its own. Do you want me to I'll put in the chat what Team means.
I think I can guess it's a 4-letter word.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it could. I thought it might.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to say, because I know what that means, because I had the ending credit sequence spoiled, and that definitely kind of spoils that. Yeah,
no, definitely. I think it could carry the movie, certainly. It depends how you write it, you know.
Let's say it's the same writers, because it's the same writer from the first movie, right?
Yep, I want the same writers. I want the same director.
Yeah.
But I think you could definitely make it work. I think it would probably... The typical ending for those characters would probably be a bit difficult to pull off, just because without Robotnik in the middle, you lose a kind of key piece of that story.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doable. Definitely doable. I think if they do, I think bringing those characters, like, this is not a spoiler, this is opinion. I think Metal Sonic should be the villain for the next film.
I think that's I think that's a better choice than what they suggested. Because it's the logical choice, at least to me.
Yeah, and I think again, without spoiling the end credits, I think what you do with that is what you did in the game, which means you need a villain.
Yes.
And for the final conflict, but obviously Metal Sonic I think would work well in the context. It's also a bit Godzilla versus Kongi in my head. So, the toy line, I was looking at it. It's Jack's Pacific, I think it is. They do some okay toys, and I'm definitely like a big enough fan of the movie I'd consider picking one up. But I've heard some bad stuff about QC about the company.
Yeah, they seem like they're very kind of up and down.
So I'm a little bit cagey about that. So I think I'll look at some reviews and then see how it turns out. I like their sort of classic stuff where a lot of it is like action sets and play sets and robots and stuff like that. That looks really fun. So as for individual figures, like, I'd like a Sonic, I'd like a Knuckles, I'd like a Tails, I'd like something of Robotnik. I just have to wait and see, like, maybe check out a few reviews and see how they hold up.
That's fair. That's a smart move to go for, I'd say. I wouldn't be interested in them myself. If I was gonna get something Sonic product related, it would probably be the Lego set, because that looks
that would be fun. That looks really good.
Yeah. And last off, Christoph just went, lastly, want to play a game of Guess the Marvel Person, and he put up a image from the Crisis game, and I can't tell who they are. I have no idea.
Can't see the image.
I'll send you the image, don't worry. All right,
Yay.
here it come. Boop. There it is.
Boop, boop.
I don't know.
Moon Dragon?
I don't think so. Maybe. I have no idea. No idea at all.
Someone's like sitting there going like, "You fucking moron!"
To be fair, I'm sure people aren't happy with us for not enjoying the new Thor trailer, so that's fine.
It's like on like Moonbase 2 and on my own thing, I'm just like, stop telling me I like this movie because I won't, and stop telling me I shouldn't judge it because I can, because I saw the first one and the creative team is the same.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it because I hated the first one.
Yeah.
I really fucking hated the first one, and I don't want to watch another one. I don't care if Lady Thor is in it. I don't care if Guardians of the Galaxy are in it.
It's not a Thor movie then, is it? That's how it seems like it's being portrayed. It's not a Thor movie. It's just Thor's in it.
Christian Bale is in it? Oh, fuck's sake.
It feels like it's like calling Avengers Age of Ultron a Hulk movie because Hulk's there. But it's not about Hulk. Yeah, he's there.
I haven't actually paid attention. Valkyrie's in it. Didn't I leave her behind? Mighty Thor, Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale.
Yeah, I sent you the toy of that guy, and he looks shit. It's just a white dude.
Just Christian Bale.
Is it Christian Bale? Oh,
Christian Bale.
That's who's in it. Okay.
Yeah. The Guardians. I wanted to bring out the bonker side of Nebula for the film through her pure aggression. Oh, for fuck's sake.
So Nebula's in it as well? Oh my god.
Like, all the Guardians are in it.
So this is going to be
except Gamora, because presumably they're looking for her.
They're going to have a nice focused film then. Okay.
Jeff Goldblum's back.
Oh, the Games Master's in as well? Oh my god.
The guy who took Yondu's arrow at the end of Guardians 2 is in it.
I know Korg's in it, but that's because it's just Taika Waititi.
Oh god, I got so annoyed because it looks like they're hanging out. which means he's going to be in it for a long time, and I
Yeah.
fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, because I think that is Taika Waititi, or at least it's a self-insert character.
Oh, I hate him so much.
yeah.
He's so
Annoying.
bad.
So it's
and,
so
like,
typical kind of movie writing at the moment.
and he's just like, oh yeah, no, I'm here now, I'm a big rock man. Just like, you can go jump in a hole.
Yeah.
You and your little bug friend. I really, really, really hate the Thor Ragnarok, and people don't believe me.
I think we need to get you.
Looks like
on
they're bringing in Zeus as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be what's his name? Guy who's in Gladiator, Russell Crowe. I think that's Russell Crowe.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think we need to do a Moonbase woo-woo where you find someone who can actually attempt to defend the movie instead of just going, "Oh, it's good." Like if they have actual points to defend it, and then go against you for Thor Ragnarok, because the movie is ripe with terrible writing and just movie in general. And I'd love to see what someone would say in its defense, critically,
Let's see
instead
what
of
they
it's
can do
good.
when I say they completely wasted the Hulk.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, but if they think they can will feature Falagur the Behemoth, one of the gods slain by Gore, and Thor's mythological goat, Toot Nasher and Toot Grinder, which I'd better gonna be a fucking pain in the hole, based off of Ten Grishner and Ten Gushnor from the mythology. So
yeah.
I don't know if they're in the comics.
They are.
I don't. Melissa McCarthy's in it.
Oh no.
She's not funny.
No.
She's not funny. She's just not funny. I don't feel bad saying that.
No, I don't either. I don't know.
She's not funny. I don't get the appeal.
Mikey, where can people find you on the internet if you want them to? Because we
Screaming
could literally keep bashing on Thor if we keep going like this, and that's another podcast.
Yeah, so if someone would like to come on and do a woo-woo for Patreon where you try to get me to admit that Thor Ragnarok is good, and that's what we will call it, trying to get Mike to admit Ragnarok is good.
And not fun. Like,
No.
That's a subjective feeling. Good,
Yeah.
as in a well-made movie.
Yeah, because, Andy and I can have that conversation for days about films. But,
yes.
So you can find me on Twitter as Irish Paleo. You can find me on YouTube. You can't. I don't do YouTube anymore. You can find us on Twitter as Moonbase2. If you want to contact us, you can do it on themoonbase2@gmail.com, on Facebook, on Libsyn, on Patreon, on Weebly, on everywhere where you would like to talk to us. Send us a question. Send us anything. Send us a smiley face. We'll take it. Andy, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch as Decayed Andy, on YouTube as Decayed Andy. You can find us on the Moonbase 2 forums, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, Libsyn, YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers Podcast, on patreon.com/Moonbase2. We do the extended version of From the Files of Teletron 2 when we do them, and it goes up early. And we also do the Moonbase Woo-Woo, where we talk about more Transformery things or non-Transformery things in more detail. Like if you can beat Mikey, which I don't think you could.
Please do. Like, seriously, if someone would like to volunteer, I will record it anytime. And we should have the comic show recorded this week, so it should be up soon enough.
Nice. Yeah, it's not a review of the comics. It's a comic discussion, so it'll be a little bit different, which is why it's been difficult for Mikey to arrange it, because Mikey's had to live and then also wrangle cats together.
Yeah, and cats are evil and bitches.
That's true. But thanks, Mikey, for coming on by this week and chatting again for Transformers and whatnot.
Thank you, Andy, for listening to my inane drivel.
Hooray! And until next week, everybody, we'll be dribbling on you in the future.
You are now leaving